So,
Yeah, Jeff, welcome back to
do you have an
Blocktime.
introduction?
I was going to just do one right now. This is episode 18.
Sorry.
And what's the block height, yeah, Jeff? We always have to say the block height when we start.
Well, everybody does that.
Block height. Yeah, but we did it first.
17565.
All right, there you go.
Is this the
5, 6.
Pierre Rochard podcast or?
This is the original.
Are you Pierre Rochard?
Yes. No, he has Blocktime Cash. This is Blocktime.
Blocktime Cash?
Yeah, he has Blocktime Cash.
Is he a Bitcoin Cash person now?
Well, he just forked the podcast.
Did he switch?
It's a joke, dude. Come on.
Okay.
Stop giving me a hard time.
Sorry, can you cut that part?
No,
I didn't get the
no,
joke.
we can't. No, we're not cutting anything. This is raw. This is why Blocktime is the best, because we give it to him straight. And also I'm
Because
lazy.
you're lazy.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So there's a few things I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about Lightning. I want to talk to you about Noster and maybe whatever. We can talk about like Millie or whatever if you want briefly, but maybe we keep it
No.
under like 30 minutes.
Okay.
But hey,
No, so
but,
let's just.
hey, like this is your. How many times have you been on Blocktime? Is this your second time?
No, I have never been on Blocktime.
No,
except that throw video you did.
Oh, that counted.
Okay, so that was only one.
Reoccurring guest, which means you're now my official co-host. So I hope you're happy. You're sort of screwed now. You're my co-host, and let's go. So
Okay,
all right.
that's good.
Okay, so let's get into it. So the thing I want to talk to you about is, I believe, is a big misconception amongst people in the Lightning space, which is the HTLC size and how that relates to the dust limit. Okay, so people like Taj and people like Paul Stortz and others, they point out this: your counterparty or your channel partners can essentially, as far as I understand, if HTLC is under a certain amount where it wouldn't make sense to actually clear that individual HTLC, they can essentially steal it. I believe that's the argument that Paul and others talk about. Am I getting that correct or incorrect?
No, it's not exactly that. No one can steal except the miners, I guess, because there's no HTLC to be stolen.
Right, but I
And
guess
it's not the dust the dust. I don't know what you're calling the dust limit, but it's not that official hard coded dust limit. It's like whatever is below economic fees.
sure. I'm just calling that the dust limit, but like whatever's economically
But the
feasible.
listeners don't know. Like if the fee that would cost you reading the HTLC is $10, then everything below $10 doesn't actually generate an HTLC.
Dude, your background's noisy. Is it raining that hard?
No, but that's my personal signature. I must have background noise. Everybody complains about it.
Okay.
Every time I talk to anyone.
Well, in post edit, I'll just take out background noise on your audio. Then no one will know. Everyone think I'm just crazy. But let me get back to it. So I had an original misconception here, which was here. Actually, let me do a quick screen share. So, can you see this Excalibur?
Yes.
So my original idea was you had these two people, like an Alice Bob kind of idea, and the channel between them, right? My thought here was, as you send over HTLCs and they become settled, even if they're under the dust limit, the idea is collectively, if they are above the dust limit, then additional HTLCs are going to be like, are going to be good. But this is actually not the case. This is how I thought it worked originally, but this is like not really. When people give this complaint. They're talking about the actual every single individual HTLC needs to be over this this dust limit.
But it's only while they're in flight.
Right. While they're in flight, if they get settled, then it's sort of a non-issue. But the risk here is while they're in flight, they're not necessarily guaranteed. Yeah. There's some game theory there on whether or not you actually want to settle it, and that's what I want to talk about. Just so I can make sure I understand all the ins and outs here. But
I don't think there's an exploit like someone will steal your funds, because no one gets the funds. The amounts go to the miner fees. So there's no incentive for anyone to try to steal the HTLC.
Is it possible though that the person can keep an HTLC in flight and hold it ransom? Is that possible though, right?
Yeah, you can just not settle.
So going back to the original question and directing some of this conversation, when Paul Storch, or I hear someone else like a Taj, say like these HTLCs don't really exist. Is it more like they actually do exist? They're just not backed by anything. They're not just like guaranteed, but you can still
no, they don't. Like that the pre-image you get when you pay a Lightning invoice,
right?
The pre-image is released by the final destination, and then it goes back to every hop in the payment.
Right, it's like back pressure.
You. Yeah. So whenever an HTLC is below fees, that thing means nothing, because when the HTLC is when the payment is above the limit, the threshold, then at any point, if one of the nodes leave and lose connection or something, the other nodes can
I get
use
that part.
the pre-image to get that. Yeah, that.
I get that part, sorry.
When the payment is small, is below fees, then you have the pre-image, and you can't do anything with it. Like the pre-image means nothing. You can't take your money using the pre-image. Like you just lose your money if the other party goes away.
It's more or less a trust-based model, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's still an HTLC. It's just not usable, right?
No, the HTLC is an output from the Lightning commitment transaction. So
gotcha.
If a payment is in flight and you close the channel, there's an output that goes to an HTLC. So in that output, you have to use the pre-image to redeem it. And when a payment is a small amount, then that output doesn't exist. There's no output. And the worst part is the nodes will still close the channel, thinking that there is an output, but there's no output.
Gotcha. So
they should know. Actually, they know, but they act as if there was an output there, but there's no output.
Okay. So if it's so let me get this straight. If it's an in-flight HTLC, it doesn't really exist. But if it's a settled HTLC, it does. Or am I totally wrong on this? I need more help.
A settled HTLC, no. A settled HTLC doesn't. It vanishes. It just changes the balances, because the channel commitment transaction, which is the transaction you use to close a channel, it has two outputs, one for you and one for the other person. And then each output has the balance, the balance that you have in the channel. And when there's a payment in flight, you add another output there with the HTLC. If there's another payment in flight in the same channel, you add another output, and so on.
But you're saying that if the amount is under a certain amount, the software doesn't even create that output, even if it's not redeemable, they just don't even create it, is what you're saying?
Yeah. That's
okay. I didn't actually know that. I thought they created it, but it was deemed unusable, so it was just ignored. But you're saying they don't even create it in the first place.
They don't even create it, and then the amount that should go in that output, the amount is just ignored, so it goes to fees.
So in a situation where you're sending one set over and over for a streaming service, or do any of the HTLCs even, or the outputs of those HTLCs, any of them exist or what?
No, they don't exist. But you still have to update the channel state to move one Satoshi from you that you're sending, and you move that Satoshi to the miner fees. So you have a new channel state. And then when the payment is settled, you take that 1 Satoshi and move it to the balance of the other guy.
Right. So I guess for a pleb, how is that any different? Why does that matter? I guess on semantics of or technically on how it's done if you end up settling these HTLCs anyways. I'm just curious.
Well, if you settle them, then it doesn't matter. It makes no difference.
So let me paint a hypothetical for you. So if you are, again, back to like the idea of like streaming and you're sending these tiny payments, right, which are way under the dust threshold, or what's the actual term here? Why do I not know the actual term? Is it dust? What's dust fee? What is it? Dust limit? I was calling it dust limit, but you made fun of me.
I don't know. I've read these boats. No, they use these names too, but I think they use it with different meanings every time. Or
okay,
something. The boat is very complicated.
They call it,
these HTLCs that don't exist, they call it trimmed HTLCs. A trimmed HTLC is actually an HTLC that doesn't exist.
Can you spell that for me? I can't understand you.
Trimmed.
Trimmed?
T-R-I trimmed.
Trimmed
yes,
HTLC?
That. Yeah.
Okay, so let me paint a hypothetical for you right now. So right now, given that a lot of payments on Lightning are going to be under that dust threshold, right? Does it make sense to make your payments, if you want to go for minimum loss and minimum like, hey, I want to make sure I don't get screwed here. Does it make sense to actually split your payment into even smaller amounts? So it's like, hey, if this person steals or goes offline or whatever, then my blast radius and my risk of losing those funds are only at least that small amount, and I can just break up a larger payment, even if it's still under the dust fee, into like 10 or 100 smaller like payments. So then if one fails, I just try a different route or I try a different node partner or whatever.
Yes, I think it makes sense.
Okay, so it's kind of like a workaround.
So you send one and then wait, and then you send another.
Right, it's like the idea, back to the streaming idea, like if you're streaming and your HTLCs aren't settling, then it's like, hey, I'm going to pause here with this method and then I'm going to go a different route versus, I think the value for value idea with streaming is like you send like, I don't know, like once a second or once every few seconds. But instead of sending, like once a minute or once for the whole podcast, which might, screw up that, HTLC, then it's like, hey, if my HTLCs start to become non-settled, then it's like, hey, I only lost those last couple HTLCs or those last couple sats. I'm gonna go a different route. It seems like a workaround, or like at least like a solution to this problem. Would you say?
I don't know if this is a problem that deserves a practical solution, but I don't know if you probably didn't watch this talk from this guy, Daniel Robinson. I sent you on Telegram. The guy is like highlighting this problem many years ago, and he suggests that we do like, for every payment, we just don't do this channel update mechanism and whatever that is complicated, and like this thing about updating channels, this may cause bugs and cause the channel to close and so on. We just say, please send 1 Satoshi for me, and then we just update the balance. We don't create an HTLC in flight and so on. We just give the guy 1 Satoshi or something. And then when the guy reports back that the payment was successful, you send another, and then you send another, and maybe you increase the amount.
So and similar to what I'm talking about, like reputational
that's
based.
I remember it. Yeah, and then you like when you're paying, you'd have like a progress bar of how much you paid or something. That's
right. Okay, so this guy pretty much was described like probably a more elegant version of what I just talked about. I'm gonna put this Daniel Robinson in the description, so when I upload, I'll plop this in.
You should invite him to the podcast.
Okay, let's do it.
But
as long as you're my co-host,
shitcoin guy.
Oh well, then everyone's gonna call Blocktime a shitcoin podcast if we have this guy on now.
Yeah, he does a bunch of shitcoin stuff. I think he doesn't care about Bitcoin anymore.
So why do you want him on the podcast? The best podcast.
I don't know. To talk bad things about Lightning and make make people unhappy. Okay.
All right. So I think you explained it pretty well. Like I said, I think there's a lot of confusion and a lot of misconceptions around this idea.
Part, you didn't get to the worst part.
Okay, let's go.
Suppose you have an HTLC, you have a preimage, and the other guy, you're trying to resolve the HTLC by sending the preimage off chain, and the other guy should say, okay, here's the updated channel state, like with the money now on your side, and then the other guy is offline or something, and you have the preimage, and now the HTLC has a time lock, so you have to, if the guy doesn't answer until the time lock expires, you have to close the channel and then publish the preimage to the chain in order to redeem the money of the HTLC. But then the HTLC doesn't exist, so you can't do that. You can't redeem your money.
Can we make a diagram real quick? Here, I want to go back to my screen share. You ready?
This is a podcast. People are listening to this in their cars.
I know, but we can talk it through, and then they can visualize it in their head. So let's do this.
Yeah,
let's do this hypothetical.
Can you share that thing with me?
Yeah. But if I do, then you'll get doxxed because maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Here,
no need. Who's going to get doxxed?
All right, here we go. I'll just send you this. There you go. You can join.
Okay.
All right. So we got two people, and we're gonna here. Let's have like a timeline, like top to bottom. You know what I mean? Like one of those state flow kind of things, where you have like there, like.
But I don't know what are these vertical bars.
Like this represents time. These represent the actors. Do you even need a third person? Can't we just use two people?
Oh, this was just to highlight that this guy here, he sent the preimage to this one. So let's put some names here. This is Carol, Charlie. I said guy, so it's a name. No, it's wrong. Okay. So Charlie received the payment, and then he sent the preimage. Woo. And then Alice updated channel.
What is this line right here for?
That was the payment, the direction of the payment.
All right,
you can delete it.
So this starts out with Alice paying Charlie?
No. Bob
paying
sending a payment.
Charlie?
Bob paying Charlie, yes.
Okay, got it. All right. Let me represent this. And let's use the color white like what you're doing. All right, so this starts out with Bob paying Charlie. So, payment to Charlie, and now I know why you said we messed this up, because it's probably easier if we do Alice. We're like in reverse order. Let's do Alice, Bob, Charlie that way. All right. So Alice is paying Charlie through Bob. All right, we'll do that.
Yeah. So at this point,
yeah, just make that the first.
This is not a message.
Oh
no, because the action involves many parts, right? What I want to do is I want to do the channel balance here. Oh shit, channel balance. 0. And here too, same thing. Okay.
What are these? Are these SATs or HTLCs?
Sets.
Oh my god, they're broke. What are the, do they live in Brazil?
These are bitcoins, okay?
Oh damn, they're rich. Do they live in Brazil?
So this guy, let's delete this. Put this in here, okay?
All right.
Okay. Lightning crash course. This guy sends an HTLC here.
I can't wait to learn how Lightning works. I've only been working in this space for 4
Channel
years.
balance. 0, 1, 9. The one in the middle is the HTLC.
And then what's the 0? The Bitcoin?
0 is Bob's balance.
Oh, I get this. This represents balance. Charlie, Bob, Alice?
No, this represents Bob, HTLC, Alice.
What? So 0 represents an 8? Oh my god, I wasn't
listening. No, 0 is balance. 0 is Bob. 1 is the HTLC, the payment that's in flight.
And 9 is Alice. Got it.
Yes. At the beginning it was 10 for Alice, and there are no HTLC.
Sorry, it's like I need a Rosetta Stone here. I get it now.
Then the same thing here.
Okay.
And then this Charlie, he has the preimage, he accepts the payment, he sends the preimage back, and then Bob updates the channel balance, like it moves the one from the HTLC to Charlie.
Right.
And now Bob sends the preimage here.
Right.
Woo. And then Alice doesn't do anything. Alice is offline or something. And now the time passes, and the time lock is going to expire.
Right, because normally when she receives the pre-image, real quick, just to go over Happy Flow, when she receives the pre-image, how does this HTLC
she'll do the
settle?
same thing.
And this is considered settling the HTLC, right?
Yeah, the HTLC, like you make a new channel state, and without the HTLC, and the balance moves to Bob.
Right.
But so if you don't do that,
path. Right? Okay.
Yeah. On the unhappy path, this HTLC here, this one here, it can go to either side, right? It will go to Bob if Bob has the preimage, and it will go to Alice.
Hold on, I feel like this is going to be confusing for super plebs. I mean, I get it, sort of, but let me just make sure that this is super clear. When we have 0, 1, 9 right here, this 0 represents Bob's balance, right? Let me just do a little quick. The 1 represents in-flight 1 BTC, and then the 9 is Alice balance. Okay, so I just want to make sure everyone understands that before we get too deep with
Can
this.
you capitalize Charlie's name? Charlie doesn't have a...
Dude, that was... I'm glad you're looking out for Charlie. All right. All right. So just let the viewers know, because we have... I think we just hit our 1,000,000th subscriber on YouTube. I just want to make sure everyone knows we have a lot of mom and dads watching these sort of videos, so like, you know.
Now is the time you have to take the kids out of the room because things are going to get dirty.
Yeah, after hours with Fiat Joff and Tidwell. Blocktime. HTLCs can go to Bob with image or to Alice after a certain block.
You know that. So the time passes and the certain block is arriving. So Bob has to close the channel, and then he'll publish a transaction to the chain, which has 3 outputs. And one output goes to him. In this case, it wouldn't have an actual output because it's 0. maybe we should do like something else. We should do like 10, and then over here we have 10, and here we have 10, and here we have 11.
I just really want to break it down. Oh, you don't like it? All right, screw it.
No, it was an accident.
Oh, you're like, this is too verbose. Wait, so did we just say that now we have 20, a 20, we went from a 10 sat or a 10 Bitcoin channel to a 20 Bitcoin channel?
Yes, we just create a new Bitcoins. Okay, so here we publish a transaction.
Just a real quick shout out to Dustin.
The channel.
Dusty for helping us splice in those extra 10 Bitcoins into these channels. Thank you. to our sponsors of this video, channel splicing. Thank you so much.
Does that work? Like, does it work anywhere?
Yeah, I mean we're getting paid by channel splicing right now, so we might as well give them a shout out. All right, let's keep going. I think this is going to be longer than a 30-minute video. I think we're already over 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay, you already know what's going on here, right? So, please explain.
This is also for
education. Much better.
Well, I can try it.
Yeah, but you're better for people.
Dude, I don't know if that's true. So the idea here is...
At least you can speak English. Okay.
Sometimes.
Okay.
The pre-image makes it back to Alice, but before Alice takes this pre-image and Bob gets his... Well, here's the thing I actually didn't understand, to be honest with you. When Charlie sends his pre-image to Bob, it actually is interesting because and this is the situation where, you know, we're always under this impression when you get that pre-image you're good, you're safe, but really what we're talking about is something just to keep in mind is when these amounts are low enough, Bob really has to send this pre-image to Alice and have everything be happy for him to actually really get paid here, you know? I mean, that's kind of what we're getting at. And this is sort of a, you know, especially with people forwarding payments, this is something I think is probably overlooked quite a bit. And the
biggest issue is that
when Alice receives this pre-image, she now needs to update the channel balance for Bob to actually have that updated channel state. And like we said, if Alice goes offline, Bob is sort of stuck in the middle holding this bag where he's like, yes, he has the pre-image, he can close out, but the question is, can he? And if the HTLC is for a low enough amount, then he can't. So then we're talking now, you know, we have HTLCs where you have like, you know, you can wait a certain amount of time before, you know, these things expire and close. But even still, even when you hit this time lock, it still doesn't matter because he still can't, whether he force closes or time lock closes or whatever, he still can't. He still can't.
No, the time lock would go to Alice. So he has to close.
Oh, he has to close before the time lock, right?
Before the time lock.
So he has to force close before the time lock.
Yes.
Okay.
And Alice can like take this pre-image, not reply to Bob, and then forward the pre-image to someone else, like here, if there was another person here. Okay. And Alice can like technically tell tell Charlie that why super testnet?
I don't know. I just feel like this is something you both would be doing together.
No.
Okay, sorry. That was inappropriate. just Fiat Jeff. And
who's that?
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. And here, like, He will buy shitcoins. Okay.
Wow, the conspiracy is unraveling right in front of us. Oh man, this is crazy. All right, let's focus back here. Is there anything else to talk about here besides the fact that I guess Lightning's broken for small payments if Alice goes offline?
No, it's horrible because the worst part is that Bob will close the channel.
Right. So
and then
going back
Bob closes the channel.
So going back to
Bob
the mitigation here, though,
and he pays $60 in fees. No more channel. Turns out Alice was just offline. Not even.
Right, but that $60 in fees. The $60 in fees was with or without the missing HTLC, right?
Yes.
So this $60. I mean, Bob could. Actually, let me ask you a very dumb question. I actually don't know how this works. How do you increase a time lock with a channel?
No, you don't increase. The time lock is
every time you send a payment. Can you? I think like originally, like isn't there like this idea that you can keep bumping this shit?
Yeah. But that was before CSV got activated. That was in the first Lightning proposal. Yeah.
Wait. So
the time locks are just per HTLC. When the HTLC is settled, they don't matter anymore.
Right. So what? Let me ask you a hypothetical here. Because the channel states have to be done incrementally, it's not like Bob can just ignore this HTLC, because if he tries to go past it, then Alice can have some sort of like revocation on the old HTLC and steal all the money. Is that the idea? Or am I like way off base?
No, they could, like, if they want, they could agree to just remove that HTLC from the channel.
Yeah, but then how would, like, but isn't there like a security concern there where it's like you don't actually know if your channel partner is going to prune it?
No, you can just settle it normally. Like you can say you don't have to follow the time
I was talking about like a weird situation where it's in flight. But
yeah, it's in flight. It's in flight.
But then,
and then the time lock expires, but Bob decides to not close the channel, for example.
Well, I guess
the thing is already in flight.
Is there ever like a situation? I guess I was just wondering about a hypothetical where there's a situation where Alice goes offline, she can't return, and she can't update the channel state, but then something along the lines of, hey, she comes back online and they just kind of ignore the old history. That would be like terrible for Bob because Alice might actually have it.
No, they have to decide what they're going to do with the HTLC. They have a conversation and say, is this HTLC going to go to me or to you? And they can decide either way.
But in both of those cases, they're not like ignoring that it ever existed. They're settling it.
To settle it is actually to ignore. Like you just update the channel state. It doesn't matter what was in the previous.
I think my question is so dumb you don't understand it, or I don't. But it doesn't matter. But regardless, they have to resolve that HTLC before continuing.
So I think the question is that the existence of the HTLC will poison the channel.
Right, and you have to resolve it before you can continue.
No, there's no such thing. Like there's only a sequence of states, and whatever goes in the state doesn't matter after you move to the next one. You can't go back to the previous state, but it doesn't matter what was there. Okay, that didn't work.
So I was thinking there might be a situation where if this isn't, dealt with nicely, that there would be a chance to do some sort of weird, perverse revocation where it's like, like, gotcha, I'm gonna now somehow use this old HTLC that was in flight that was never settled, and I'm gonna somehow see like, hey, you're trying to update the channel state without first, I don't know, doing something with this old unsettled HTLC. But I think what I'm talking about is probably like just bizarre and not even like a real question or like a real concern.
Yes, I think it's not a real concern. So what I was just talking about, did you just realize this, that Bob will close the channel? I think this is the worst thing that could happen. Like Bob closes the channel.
I know.
And it does it because he doesn't want to lose this one Satoshi here. Like he needs this one Satoshi so much that he decides to close the channel.
No, but that's what originally my question was in the motivation of saying, hey, Bob doesn't actually have to force close this channel even if it goes past the time lock. Because he doesn't want to lose the 60 bucks. So then he just says, screw it. I don't know if Alice is going to play nice or not, but I'm going to risk losing that, that one sat or something.
Yeah. I think Bob could do that.
Okay, so then it won't poison. I like that word that you used, by the way, earlier. It won't poison the channel, that HTLC that kind of gets screwed up. So Bob hypothetically can just say, I don't know what's going on with Alice, but I'm not going to force close this and, potentially close the channel at a bad time right now.
Yes, they can decide to do that. It's fine, but it creates some issues. And the issue is basically how they will decide afterwards what to do with that. Like, to whom will that HTLC go? There's no clear way to decide it. Like, it creates an issue. So, like, if for example, if Alice knows that Bob will never close the channel and will just have all the HTLCs pending forever, then Alice can flood Bob with HTLCs or something.
She can be a bully.
Yeah, I don't know. There may be other problems with that. Still. And if Bob, for example, Bob doesn't care. Bob knows the HTLC belongs to him, but Alice will say, no, it's mine. You didn't give me the preimage in time. And Bob says, no, I did give you the preimage. And then Alice says, no, I didn't receive it. And these conflicts, they can happen, and then the chain is the judge that will decide what really happened. But in this case, they don't have the chain, so everything becomes subjective.
I think it makes perfect sense. No, I mean that's made perfect sense. I just the idea that going back to that mitigation sort of idea where you're sending just such small payments, where it's like if Alice is unreliable either for malice or for just network connectivity, then it's like your HTLCs that are at risk here at such low amounts that it like doesn't matter really,
Well, it matters because you lose the channel.
No, because you don't need to force close.
It doesn't matter, but you will force close. All the implementations will force close.
Gotcha. So right now, currently, like with LND, Core Lightning, I don't know about Claire, but whatever major implementations there are with LDK.
Yeah, Claire, LDK, yeah. They're like all these, they have issues on their repositories about how about we don't force close for just HTLCs. But they never act on these issues because there's no clear way to do it. There's no correct way to not close. Right? Because if you don't close, you get into a subjective state.
Let's look at one of these issues. I'm curious what Blue said. Little boy Blue. Don't force close.
I sent you
I have it up. I have it up on the screen share. Don't force close for Dust HTLCs. We currently do, but maybe we should consider not doing that? Question mark. If we force close for Dust, we're guaranteed to lose the HTLC anyways. Though it's a bit weird not to given we'll just sit around with dust in our channels, we can't do anything about?
You see how subjective it is. You can't even understand what he's saying. Like he's just having.
No, I understand. But it is funny that he is talking to himself. So this is like a few weeks later, and this was May. Now we're going to June. So we can only do this for sent HTLCs. For forward HTLCs, if we don't force close, the outbound edge will end up just getting the inbound edge channel force closed. For outbound HTLCs, it's probably worth force closing as well. We'd really like to get some kind of HTLC resolution at some point. We can't just let it hang out forever. And I was pretty much saying, like, just let it hang out forever. But he's saying we can't let it hang out forever. And it sounds like he's saying there might be other downstream issues if you let it hang out. Let's see, what was he saying? We don't force close the outbound. We'll end up just getting the inbound edge force closed. Now, this is also in June, later that day, I guess. Oh, he closed it and then he reopened it. He had a change of heart on the same day. So a change of heart here. These issues. So I guess the same day, I guess after he reopened it, I guess what I must have been thinking was that we actually do fail the inbound edge for an HTLC back, consider the payment failed, but decline to actually force close. And I think everyone at home right now understands exactly what's going on. When we communicate with the peer next, we give them a chance to fail the HTLC. If they don't, and I want to make sure it's noted, don't is italicized, i.e. they try to claim it in parens, we just force close, FC. I like that there's a new acronym that I just should know, that I picked up on very quickly.
Football club.
Football club. If they do italicize, we managed to save ourselves and force close. Still, it's...
Is that N correct? Shouldn't it be A?
It depends. If F is a vowel in this case, it might be. Matt is smarter than me in pretty much everything, and probably including English. And I am terrible. Whenever I write a GitHub message, it always says edited because I always read it. I'm like, oh shit, that's not English. So I can't give anyone shit too much. Still, it's a bunch of work, and hopefully the holds HTLC forever, in quotes, issues are mostly solved by LND 16.3. And just FYI, we're in 17. Here, let's reply. Blue, we are in 17x of LND. Thoughts? Maybe this isn't going to be constructive. Let's just not do that. Okay, but this is good.
But he's watching. He's watching.
Right. Exactly. Blue Matt is very well, first off, he gave the keynote at TabConf 2022 about, lightning issues. I mean, he's very, very in the know of various things, and it seems like even it's really sad when you're this high on the mountain, you have no one to talk to but yourself. And if you are a viewer of Blocktime, go to issue 2310 and talk with Matt. He is lonely here. He needs a friend to talk to him about this issue and give him some ideas. It's lonely when you're on top. Help Matt out. Let's here. I want to start it. Let's give this let's start it right here. Let's start giving some hearts here. All right. I want to see 10 hearts on this issue by our next podcast. So let's find it, boys and girls. Okay. Okay, but yeah, thanks for the share, Jeff. That was great. And I think we explained it
really good.
Yeah, I think we explained it pretty well. I think me not fully grasping it was actually great, because then it's like I get to learn with you, or I get to learn from you and Matt.
Okay.
Is there anything else to talk about here before we can just kill it?
Well, Yeah, maybe.
Or I guess kill this topic.
Yeah, let's end or whatever.
Okay.
You decide.
All right. Well, I wanted to. What was I even going to ask you about Nostr? Do you remember?
Why do I think there will be free relays forever or something?
I think that's an interesting topic. You know what? Because this episode went long, let's make Nostr the next podcast. How's that sound? We'll talk more about Nostr and other developments. So let me fix this. Here, I'm gonna.
And then we invite
Lightning,
Robinson Crusoe,
Dust Chat. There we go. Lightning, Dust Chat. We fixed the topic right as we got done, so no one's confused.
So next time you invite Matt and Robinson something to talk about Nostr or something like that.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure who our guest will be, but let's end it. I think we're going long.
Okay,
Joff, no, hold on. You have to do your sign out. Anything you want to shill? Anything you want to talk about before we close out?
No, I'm going to give a heart to that issue.
Okay, good.
Right now.
All right, perfect. All right, we're 20% there. We're 20% there. We need 8 more.
Okay.
All right. I guess let me give a quick shill then. If you're not, if you like conversations like this, candid, off the cuff conversations. A lot of these things happen at TabConf. TabConf is happening in October 23rd through 26th in Atlanta, Georgia. Tabconf.com, and we're calling it TabConf 6 because it's our 6th annual conference over 7 years. And yeah,
this is in 11 months.
Yeah, it's in 11 months, but hey, you gotta promote early. Yeah, it's the most highly attended technical Bitcoin conference
Bitcoin
open to the public.
Be there at that point.
What'd you say?
Okay. Yeah. TabConf is very good. All the times I went, they were super good.
The real trick is going to
people.
I was going to say the real trick is going to TabConf, and then you have to figure out who Fiat Joff is.
Yeah, if you find Fiat Joff, you earn 1 million satoshis.
Okay. You ready? You ready to call it?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Good one. Episode 18 in the books. And what block are we at now? We're at block...
Jesus Christ.
817566.
The blocks, they keep coming. It's amazing.
Hey, I just want to say, I was one of the first people to do that back in 2015 or 16, whenever I started this crap. I've only got 18 episodes. So we got 18 episodes over like 7 years. All right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.